This is the entire California road trip I did with Mom in August of 2025. We flew to Las Vegas, explored a little bit, drove on the Strip, across the Mojave Desert, saw the world's largest thermometer and many Joshua trees. Then Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, and we spent a night at one of the best waterfront campsites ever along the Pacific Coast Highway. We continued on the PCH towards Santa Barbara, Solvang, Pismo Beach, and the breathtaking scenery of Big Sur, Santa Cruz, San Francisco, Yosemite, the Eastern Sierra, and Death Valley were some of the highlights before ending where we began, Las Vegas. All that and more coming up next.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
Greetings from the Miami International Airport. As I mentioned, today I'm traveling with Mom. And here we are on the Tunnel of Freedom. We're flying to Las Vegas, where Cruiser, our Class C RV, has been in storage for a little over a month, as of our filming here on August 13th, 2025. It's a beautiful day, so it should be a pretty flight out of Miami. As we start gaining elevation, I can see Blue Lagoon, the car rental center and station, the new soccer stadium under construction, and the whole southwest suburbs. I think if I squint hard enough, I can see my house down there. Downtown Coral Gables, the Dolphin Expressway, and we can even see the airport we just took off from. I love getting a window seat so we can get this great bird's eye view of the city that has been home for the past 37 years or so. We can see the Tamiami Trail as it vanishes over the horizon. US 1, Coconut Grove. I could point out dozens of landmarks from up here. Ritzy areas like Coco Plum and Gables Estates, it can all be seen down there. It looks like the pilot is going all the way around the southern tip of the Florida Peninsula to avoid some bad weather over the Everglades. And that down there is the beginning of the Florida Keys. Can you see the Overseas Highway on the right? That would be Key Largo, of course. What we see now is something I've never seen before with my own eyes, and I may never be able to see it from the ground. That's Cape Sable, the southernmost point of mainland Florida and the contiguous USA for that matter, because spoiler alert, Key West is an island. It is super remote and hard to get to, but it is still on the bucket list. Someday we'll brave the mosquito and alligator infested trail that goes down there. I managed to spend all my frequent flyer miles and get an upgrade so we could be more comfortable and get a better meal. And after our loop around Florida, off we went, almost all the way to the other side of the country. About 5 hours later, we're flying over the Grand Canyon. The body of water we see beneath is none other than Lake Mead, a reservoir formed by Hoover Dam in 1936. There's something about this barren land. I don't know what it is that attracts me so much. There it is, down there, Hoover Dam. It is so great to see it from up in the air. Everything looks magical at this time of the day. Now flying over Boulder Highway, we'll be able to see the strip soon. We can clearly see the Strat, all the high-rise hotels, the Sphere, the High Roller, as we land at LAS, Las Vegas Harry Reid International Airport. It's been a long day. The flight was not so bad, but here we are finally in fabulous Las Vegas. And let me show you our fabulous room at the Augustus Tower. Mom is very tired, but there she is, happy to be in Las Vegas. And here we are at the Augustus Tower. And at some point, the Bellagio fountains are going to start doing their thing, and then, you know, yeah, we got 2 queen beds and mini bar and TV, and yeah, it's very nice. Well, this is the view.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here in Las Vegas. It's a paradise. And my song bring me to the paradise.
And this room, in many ways, I don't know if this video is going to come out before or after the last time we were here in Las Vegas, last month. But it's very similar to the one we had in the Octavius Tower. But this is the Augustus Tower, which is closer to the entrance and better, I think. I got to show you the bathroom if we make a mess here. We have a beautiful shower. We've got a bathtub with like bubbles, you know, like a jacuzzi. Double sinks here. Very nice. And that's the loo, the head, as I say. All right, we're gonna rest. I mean, it's 8:25 Vegas time, but for us, for our internal clocks, is 11:25. So we're tired. We're gonna go to sleep soon. And tomorrow we're picking up the RV. Well, good morning and greetings from fabulous Las Vegas. Today I'm picking up the RV for what I'm calling the Mini California Loop. I want to show Mom the highlights of the Golden State. We're back in Cruiser. Yes, here we are. Right, we just turned on the batteries. 2 of the batteries were off, which is weird, but I turned everything on, and yeah, we're ready to get in some solar. I'm gonna leave this on because it is hot out there, you know, so this doesn't cook much. I turned on the fridge, and yeah, let's go to the KOA. Oh, here we are. Got some groceries. Getting the RV ready. Doing laundry. Luckily, they were able to get me an RV site right next to the laundry. We're here at the Sam's Town KOA in Las Vegas, as this is usually where we stay here. And tomorrow we're doing an oil change on Cruiser. Yeah, Cruiser. It survived without us. I'm gonna sanitize the freshwater tank, all the good jazz, and then the day after tomorrow we go to California because it is 109 degrees here. Did I mention that? Different type of heat. It's dry heat, but still, heat is heat. I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna go back and maybe we'll walk around the strip a little bit with Mom. Well, here we are once again roaming the casinos of Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace with Mom, and here we have the statue of the Caesar with a great pego lamp on top of it.
Caesar's Palace in particular is very tastefully done, although I think very little remains of the original hotel that opened in the 1960s. Here's a replica of Michelangelo's David, which is kind of hard to find, to be honest. We came outside to walk along the strip a little bit, but it is too hot, so we're going back inside and get a bite to eat.
We got empanadas.
I got the hamburger, that looks really good, and Mom got fish and chips. We're taking a taxi to the nearby high roller. Mom really has a thing for Ferris wheels, and I think she's gonna like this one. Here we are, and there's the Sky Lounge, which is eerily deserted. And here's where we're gonna take our picture. The last time I was here, there was a line, so it is true what they say. Las Vegas is kind of dead these days.
We are rolling high on the high roller. Viva Las Vegas.
Big numbers, like 7.3 million tons of steel.
We're surrounded by mountains and luxury hotels, and the day is slowly coming to an end. Here's Mom, and now the sphere looks like a watermelon. There's our Caesar's Palace. The West Gate, that's the old Hilton where they had the Star Trek experience back in the day. And that's the airport. We can really see almost everything from up here, except for the Strat, which is behind the Fontainebleau. Now we're almost at the very top. And we are slowly descending back to street level.
Well, that was certainly a treat to be here on the high roller. You know, hopefully I won't get a copyright strike because of this music, but we've gotten, 360 degrees all around us, and we're already descending here. We're gonna be back in November probably, and I'm gonna see if we can go into the Sphere to see the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I love the fact that Las Vegas is surrounded by mountains. Cool town. And yeah, did I mention Mom is here?
Oh, there's a little bit of a line now.
Here we are at the Link Promenade. But I believe this is all we're gonna do today.
We're going back to Caesar's Palace, and tomorrow will be another day. Actually, it'll be 2 days.
Well, a new mini adventure begins with Pelicruiser. As you can see, we're in Pelicruiser, and today I'm traveling with Mom.
Good morning to everybody.
So we're gonna do a quick California loop. Not so quick, we're gonna be like 10 days in California and then back to Vegas, back to Miami. Enjoy the ride. We're gonna put gas and then we're gonna cruise along
the strip, just so we can see it. Billy Cruiser has never cruised along the strip.
This is where we've always stayed here in Las Vegas with the RV. It is inexpensive for Las Vegas, and while it's a little far from downtown and the strip, it is not too bad. And it has a hotel next door with restaurants, casino, even a movie theater. I'm going to fill up and go for a cruise along downtown and then the strip, because why not? Let's say goodbye to Las Vegas properly.
Anyway, gotta put some gas before getting to California because, it's a little more expensive over there.
There's a tanker truck blocking the way, but not a problem with Billy Cruiser. Here we are, approaching downtown Las Vegas, and I don't remember all these old motel signs being here. Perhaps I've never really driven through this section of Fremont Street before. Not this far east. We usually just do the Fremont Street experience, the one with the LED canopy. This is pretty cool. I'm totally getting Route 66 vibes here. This is the Fremont East District, which certainly evokes a different era, and the famous and historic Cortez Hotel from 1941. And we have all these cool vintage neon signs in this area, which is arguably the real Las Vegas, where it all began. The Strip may get all the love these days with the huge hotels and restaurants, but there's a certain gritty charm to this area. Perhaps next time we'll stay here. And we've made it to Las Vegas Boulevard, where Fremont Street becomes pedestrian only for the Fremont Street experience. Here we make a left towards the Strip. Here we have more neon motel signs, but I think these may be more like props, adorning our journey from downtown Las Vegas to the Strip. We can see the Strat in the distance, originally the Stratosphere Tower. It had at one point the highest roller coaster in the world, and I got to ride it back in 2005. And this is officially where we're leaving Las Vegas, onto an unincorporated town called Winchester, and Paradise further down the road. This is also the beginning of the Strip. Well, actually, officially, the Strip begins after this intersection coming up, Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara Avenue. Las Vegas is a place in constant transformation. Many of these buildings were not here the first time I came, and some will probably become by the next time I visit. The first time we came, we stayed at the Circus, which is one of those I wouldn't be surprised if it is the next one to go. It certainly looks dated compared to all the behemoths we're about to see, like the Anchor and the Wynn coming up here on the left. And here's a shopping mall called Fashion Show. Very cool. The Palazzo Hotel here on the left is very cool as well, especially the Grand Canal shops. You are immediately transported to Venice, as you are at the Venetian here too. The Casino Royale, Harrah's. They have that old Las Vegas look. The Link, well, the Link looks very modern. On the right, our very own Caesar's Palace, and we're stuck in traffic now. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. We're moving again. Here we have, of course, the Bellagio. Too bad the fountains are not running right now. On the left, Paris, and we're stuck in traffic again.
There's a demonstration happening here in front of the Bellagio. Once again, the Paris Hotel. Here's the Cosmopolitan, which is beautiful by the way, but these newer hotels somehow don't have the allure, the character of those that were built following a theme. Most of them built in the 1990s, like the New York coming up. It features some of the buildings that form the Manhattan skyline, and even a replica of the Statue of Liberty. It's an odd choice they didn't feature the Twin Towers at the time, but in hindsight, it was probably a good idea. The Excalibur is coming up next. The Luxor was quite iconic when it first opened. The sky beam at the top is the most powerful man-made light in the world, even though they don't run it at full capacity anymore. As we come to the end of the strip, here we have the Mandalay Bay. Oh wait, there's one more thing I want to see in Las Vegas before we go. There's a big traffic jam to see this, but it is iconic. We just gotta do it. There's a long line to take a photo, which I'm not gonna do. I don't really need to. No matter how busy it may be, we usually manage to find parking with Peli Cruiser. Here we are, right in front of the airport, but of course that's not why we're here, right? By the way, Mom decided to stay back. She didn't feel like walking all the way back here. But I'm just gonna do it for her and take a selfie with the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign. It's iconic. Yeah, it's one of those spots where, it's a thing. The crowds are here just to take a picture with the sign. Here I am at the end of the line. Well, yes, you can see there is a long line to take that iconic picture with the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. That's incredible. Yeah, definitely not gonna make that line. Actually, I did this before, 12 years ago. I'm gonna see if I can dig up that video. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. Anyway, we continue towards Los Angeles. This was just a quick stop here, mainly to change the battery of the 360 and show you guys the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign. All right, let's hit the road. This first leg of the trip will take us almost straight south to a town called Baker. I was hoping to cross the Mojave earlier in the day, but time really got away from us, getting settled in the RV, getting out of Las Vegas, and now we're almost crossing at the hottest time of the day. It'll be a test for our ProMaster's powertrain, which I hear can be prone to overheating. That would be a desert art installation called The Seven Magic Mountains by Swiss artist Ugo Rondioni. And that light in the distance belongs to the Ivanpah power plant. More about that later, as we are about to cross into California. And what do we have at every Nevada border? Casinos, of course. No matter which state you're going to, no matter how small the town or isolated the road, it's like dispensaries in other states. We're approaching Primm, which sits right on the Nevada side of the border, and they've got all kinds of attractions. And here we are, entering the Golden State. Which brings me to that Ivanpah plant, which is not a traditional solar plant. It actually has mirrors that concentrate the solar rays to create heat, which in turn boils water, and the resulting steam drives the turbine generators. It hasn't been without controversy. I've read hundreds, if not thousands of birds have been incinerated by the concentrated sunlight. I also read that it's never quite realized its full potential. By the way, we've got a big hill coming up, and I believe that may be the agricultural inspection station. About the plant, all I know is that it looks cool as heck, like something futuristic or out of a science fiction movie. Time now for that Welcome to California agricultural inspection. Well, apparently they are not inspecting today. Good. I could have brought some lemons and nobody would have known. I know, old inside joke. If you've been watching for a while, you know. As we begin our descent, we are now at the heart of the Mojave Desert, in the land of the Joshua Tree. The desolate beauty of the Mojave is just mesmerizing. Very soon here, we're going to drive across this desert on a much more isolated road. It is called Route 66. Here we are arriving at our first stop, Baker, California, home to the world's largest thermometer. Yeah, it's totally a thing. Here we are, first stop of the trip, and we are at a town called Baker, California, which might as well be a bakery because we're getting baked here. But Baker is famous because of one landmark that is right there, and somebody got the same idea as I did to park here. Seems to be like an abandoned restaurant. That over there is the world's largest thermometer, which right now says 98 degrees. Yeah, it's hot out here. We're getting baked in Baker. But the Beverly Cruiser so far has done great crossing the Mojave. No overheating, I mean, knock on wood, or knock on luck. But yeah, we're like a third of the way of our trip today. Yeah, Baker, California. I always wanted to stop here. Yeah, now we can say we've been here at the world's largest thermometer, which is not really a thermometer, right? It's just a digital display. I guess it counts. And I wonder what that is over there. I see aliens. We must investigate. It's a very peculiar desert out here. There also seems to be a Greek restaurant here. More research shall go into this mysterious town of Baker, California. As I said, let's investigate. It's called Alien Fresh Jerky, one of those classic American roadside attractions. 10 on the quirky scale. And here we have all these aliens with the flying saucers above their heads. That kind of looks like a sombrero in my mind, if you look at them from a certain angle. Am I reading too much into this? And back there's a huge flying saucer that I think is a hotel, but I'm not sure. Let's park and check it out. Well, we're gonna continue down the road, and then I saw this place and I'm like, let's check it out. They have all these aliens here. Extraterrestrials, I should say. And it's called Alien Fresh Jerky. I mean, we're not gonna go inside to buy any jerky, but let's check out all these extraterrestrials here. Yeah, another one of those American roadside attractions. Let's get a little closer because some of this stuff looks straight out of Tatooine or a place like that. Will you check this place out? It almost looks like an oversized Gravitron ride. And here they have a time travel station. And this is called the UFO Hotel. But I don't think any of this is in operation right now. It says private property back there, so let's continue. I mean, I had no idea this place was here. Goes to show, Route 66 is not the only place with quirky, oversized roadside attractions. Cool. Cool mountains down there too. Yep, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Right here at the Alien Fresh Jerky. Let's continue, as the temperature now soars past triple digits. Oh yeah, it's a scorcher out there. Our next stop is going to be a town called Barstow, which also happens to be an important stop along Route 66, but we'll cover that when we actually do this section of the Mother Road. Soon, I promise. Barstow is also an important crossroads at the intersection of Interstates 15 and 40. Historic Route 66, of course, and there is also an important rail yard. We're only gonna take a break here at the Walmart parking lot, where I've spent the night more than once before, and continue towards the Santa Clarita area. Let's refuel. Pumps in California are different. Yes.
We're a fan of
my
your show,
name,
man.
Hey,
Just wanted to say hi. We saw you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You take a lot of trips on all the video you thank you.
Hi, great to meet you.
This is the new one?
Yeah, this is Beverly Hills, yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to say hi. Hi.
That's my mom, yeah.
Hi.
We continue driving through this Joshua Tree forest, going west on State Route 138, the Pear Blossom Highway. We're gonna be staying at Valencia Travel Village RV Resort. Going over Soledad Pass, and here we are. And we've made it to Venice, no, not Venice, Valencia, California. And lo and behold, it's not hot anymore, and we're enjoying a beautiful evening here with Mom.
Hi.
And the beautiful views of those mountains back there. And yeah, we're just gonna relax here, by the way. Cheers. We're just gonna relax here for a few minutes, and then we have an RV to clean up, and we have to make the beds and figure out where to put everything, you know, our luggage. Anyway, that's it for today from Valencia, California. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers. Good morning. I'm gonna cook us some breakfast here, starting with some ham and cheese. I'm gonna kind of cut them in cubes, and now I'm gonna crack some eggs. Got some avocado oil, and I'm gonna beat those eggs. Some of that zero sugar barbecue rub from Georgia we got at the Stinghatchee Fiddler Crab Festival. I'm gonna put some onion and garlic powder. Yeah, we'll call it breakfast. First thing today, we're going to visit my godmother in Canyon Country, and then we're going to LA. Mom is the ultimate city girl, so the next few days will be a combination of city landmarks and the natural beauty of California. I'll try to strike a good balance between those two. Well, we visited my godmother. Now we're going to fill up the tank, and we're gonna do the unthinkable. We're going into Los Angeles with Peli Cruiser. And we'll see if we can park it somewhere. As far as cities go, the Los Angeles metropolitan area is nestled in one of the most beautiful areas in the country, if not the world, with perfect climate, topography, and the closer we get to the Pacific, the more pleasant the temperature. I mean, take a look at this place. It makes your commute somehow more pleasant. Although I imagine if you're from here, you just see it every day and take it for granted, but as someone from the flatlands of Florida, I'm really enjoying the journey here. There we can see the silhouette of downtown. Our first stop, I'm gonna see if we can go up to Griffith Observatory for a commanding view of the city, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. It is Sunday, and I'm sure half of LA had the same idea. Well, yeah, they did. It is going to be nearly impossible to find parking, especially with a 25-foot RV, so plan B, or C, or we have the whole alphabet in front of us here. Let's go down to Hollywood Boulevard, because if memory serves, I know a good spot, a street actually, from where you can see the Hollywood sign. Here we have some of those iconic skinny palm trees. And here we are now, at the heart of downtown Hollywood and the Walk of Fame. Coming up, the historic Pantages Theater from 1930. Fun fact, the Academy Awards were hosted here from 1949 to 1959. Before we continue, I'm going to make a left here on Cahuenga Boulevard to find parking and take a break. Because of her diabetes, Mom needs to snack often, and now it's one of those times. There's a long line here on the right at this studio. Maybe there's a casting. That's what it looks like anyway. The farther away we get from Hollywood Boulevard, the more optimistic I get about finding parking with Pelicruiser. This is it. It is narrow and off-level, but it'll do.
Oh, here we are, having a picnic on the side of Cahuenga Boulevard with Mom. Cahuenga or Cahuenga? Yeah, in Hollywood. We're in Hollywood.
It's time for that afternoon espresso fix.
In the middle of the road. Yep. Coffee on the go with Mom.
We're back in Hollywood, and now we're going to take a street called Beechwood Drive. Very important. I'll show you in a second why. Well, if you haven't guessed, the Hollywood sign is not as ever-present as you would think. And this street here is one of the best spots from where to see it, as it aligns exactly with it. Check it out right there. It was originally erected in 1923 to advertise a real estate development called Hollywood Land. The land part was removed in 1949. By the 1970s, that original wooden sign had become so dilapidated that it was replaced with an all-steel one that still stands today and hopefully will for a long time, it being like a symbol of the city, right? It is so beautiful up here, and with the emotion of seeing the sign and my eagerness to explore, I didn't realize that I'm getting deeper and deeper into this labyrinth of narrow, winding streets that comprise the Hollywood Hills, the original Hollywood land. Oh no, this is narrow. Here we have a guy taking selfies with his Tesla, and one thing I'm getting here, I'm totally getting GTA 5 vibes up here, like deja vu. I'm sure I've driven somewhere up here as one of the characters in the game at one time or another, and it's been years, by the way, since I've played last. Some of these are very narrow. I really hope I can get out of here. Oh, that's a nice view, but I have a car behind me, so it is not like I can stop and smell the roses for too long. Here we're even gonna get another glimpse at the Hollywood sign. Let's Let's try and turn around here, and we do have a great turning radius with Pelicruiser, but not that good. We're finally descending back to safety. And one thing you may have noticed is we're not getting out of the RV very often. Or at all, actually. First, parking in the Hollywood Hills can be a challenge even for passenger vehicles. And second, Mom has mobility issues at this point. She can't really walk long distances. And even getting in and out of the RV can be a chore sometimes. So this trip, mostly everything is going to be done from the comfort of Pelicruiser, with a few outings on foot here and there, like once we get to the Pacific in a few minutes here. But for the most part, I'm just giving her a tour of the California highlights. I mean, some of them anyway. And we're back on Beechwood Drive. This area definitely needs to be explored at more leisure. Maybe, just maybe, when we finish Route 66, we can spend more time here. We can now see the Hollywood sign behind us. We're now going back towards Hollywood Boulevard. Here, on the left, we're going to see the famous Capitol Records building. The design is supposed to resemble a stack of records on a turntable with the spindle pointing up towards the sky. We'll see it better once we make a left here on Vine Street. I really wish we could park and walk, see all the stars on the sidewalk. But we've done that before, and we'll probably do it again when we come back. Now we're turning right, or west, on Hollywood Boulevard, going towards its most iconic and touristy section. Here they have the celebrity home tours, and they were advertising public parking, but I'm sure not with the RV. Yeah, look at the crowds. This is the epicenter of it all, if you will. Coming up here on the right, the Dolby Theater. Originally the Kodak Theater when it was built in 2001. The Oscars have been held here since then. Looking back, that's El Capitan from 1926, one of 3 themed theaters opened by real estate developer Charles E. Toberman, also known as the father of Hollywood. Coming up here on the right, another one of those themed theaters, the much more famous and iconic Grauman's Chinese Theater from 1922. The sidewalk in the front has the footprints of many stars dating back to 1927, etched on the concrete for posterity. And that's Hollywood Boulevard in a nutshell. We are now on Santa Monica Boulevard, which happens to also be historic Route 66. So I know what you're gonna think. We've cheated and skipped to the end. Don't worry, we're gonna finish it the proper way very soon. We're approaching an area where the zip code is 90210. I wonder what that might be. Well, what do you know? It's Beverly Hills! Before driving through the famous area of Rodeo Drive, let's drive first on the residential section of the famous street, all the way to a very famous hotel, the Beverly Hills, which was on the cover of Eagles Hotel California. Can't really see much of Hotel California from here, so let's go back to Rodeo Drive. Yeah, on this one they kept the Spanish pronunciation, so don't say rodeo. Rodeo Drive, of course, famous for all the high fashion boutiques that line these 3 blocks. We're just gonna drive through, time-lapse style, and continue. Busy area. This is arguably the most famous area here on the left. And we're back on Santa Monica Boulevard. And all I wanna do is have some fun. All these buildings here, this is Century City, built at what used to be the 20th Century Fox backlot. After a little bit of a tedious drive, we've made it to Santa Monica. I mean, I could have taken the freeway, but I wanted to take Santa Monica Boulevard all the way here. Here on the right, that's famous Mel's Diner. And somewhere around here is also the official end of Route 66 sign. Check it out, right there on the corner. That's the actual official sign. There it is, our first view of the Pacific Ocean. Let's go all the way to the pier where they have another Route 66 sign, but that one is only like for the photo op. I mean, I'm sure Route 66 never ended in the middle of a pier. What do you all think? This is it, the famous Santa Monica Pier. Now we're going to drive under the pier and onto one of the most scenic routes in the country, which unfortunately a section which happens to be the most scenic one is closed. Yeah, Big Sur is closed, but more about that later. We're taking California Highway 1 North, the Pacific Coast Highway. This drive never gets old. And once again I'm getting GTA vibes here. Let's see if I can park by the ocean for a few minutes. This is Will Rogers State Beach, which I'm not sure this is where I want to go. I just want to park for like 10 minutes. I mean, I've been driving non-stop most of the afternoon, and it would be good to stretch our legs. We can see all the way back to the Santa Monica Pier. And look at that guy kite surfing. Let me tell you, that's gotta be a fun sport. Well, what do you know? We finally made it to the Pacific Ocean. We're breathing the cool air of the Pacific here, and Mom's taking pictures back there. And you know, she loves the ocean, so we had to... Well, I mean, we're not done quite yet with this day here, but we're almost finished with this day here at the Pacific. Now we're gonna slowly go a little farther north on the PCH and then head back to the RV park. And then tomorrow we're going to spend the night right next to the Pacific Ocean.
I really wanted to maybe stop by Santa Monica Pier, you know, do the end of Route 66, but we're gonna save that for when we really do Route 66. And there's Mom coming. She's gonna get run over by a bicycle any moment now. I'm telling you, I gotta keep an eye on her. Hey, Mom.
Hi.
Having a good time? All right, let's continue.
Very happy.
There we go.
And here's Cruiser, parked by the Pacific. Such great California vibes here. This Southern California weather is amazing. Oh, by the way, here we are very close to Pacific Palisades, where the horrific fire happened in early 2025.
Yeah, we certainly couldn't have asked for better weather, but then again, it is Southern California, Cruiser in Southern California, where it is usually almost, if not perfect weather, right? I mean, you get in the ocean breeze, it's awesome.
All right, let's go. Tomorrow will be another day. Tomorrow we actually begin the journey north, along the coast, even though we won't be able to take the coastal route all the way. We can only make a right here, so we're gonna have to make a U-turn at some point. And I see some scorched trees, probably from the Palisades fires. We're gonna drive west for a little bit and then take that windy road through the mountains on the way back to Valencia. And just like that, we're going away from the Pacific Ocean, heading inland on the windy mountain road. It was bound to happen. Here we have some road construction. We've made it to the valley on the other side, and what a view!
Well, here we are, day 3 of travels with Mom in the RV. Oops, the shade. Begin today, and at some point I gotta show you the logistics of putting down the bunk and all that, which, I mean, the first night it was a little bit of a learning curve, but eventually we'll figure it out. And now I'm gonna walk around because according to the map, there's like a river right back there. So let's see if we can see the view around here, and today we're gonna go back to the Pacific, of course.
It is actually a pretty nice RV park. The river must be somewhere down there, but we can't see it from here. Let's walk around a little more. I just love the California weather. Have I said that before? And also being surrounded by all these hills. And those folks must get a great view. I wouldn't mind at all spending more time here. It is quite nice.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a river back there, but it's probably behind all that vegetation. Yeah, RV storage. Very cool. Maybe we can bring Cruiser at some point. to Southern California. I mean, for the next couple of days, we're under extreme heat warning, which is it's going to go upwards of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But let's face it, that is very rare in this area. It's been one of those very hot summers. Actually, it feels nice in the shade, but in the sun, it's starting to. Luckily, I have that Caribbean skin, right? I never have to wear, sunscreen or anything like that. Maybe I should sometimes, but I still don't. All right, beautiful RV park, actually. We might return here someday and enjoy some of the amenities. They have swimming pool, hot tub, and all that. And but today we gotta get going. We gotta go back to my godmother's place to pick up a package, and then we continue up the coast. By the way, Mom got really tired yesterday. I think even just sitting at the car, all that traveling, she's not used to that anymore. But we're gonna take it easy. We're gonna take it a little easier over the next couple of days, and we may have to skip some of the. I have very ambitious plans, as I usually do. I was thinking, let's go to the Redwoods, let's go to Yosemite, let's go to Lake Tahoe, and we may have to pick and choose among those. Oh, I forgot where our site is. It's either this one or the next one. Actually, I see Pelicruiser right there. Let's hit the road.
We're going back to the Pacific. I was able to reserve a spot right by the ocean. Very cool place, wait till you see it. We've actually been there before. Now approaching Malibu. Look at that hilltop mansion. This is where we're going to be staying, Rincon Parkway. From the first time I saw it, I knew I wanted to stay here. Here's our site. Here we are, Rincon Parkway in Ventura County, California. $47 to boondock by the ocean. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than this. We were here once before, a little over 6 years ago, and now I'm back with Mom. The peninsula on the right, Feria Beach Park, which does have hookups, but the sides look very tight. And there's a train going by. Amtrak's Coast Starlight, perhaps? It is just magical. At almost golden hour here. I really like this setup at Rincon Parkway here. We all have an ocean view from our patios. It is really cool to see everybody else's rigs and setups. We still look pretty small compared to our neighbors. That would be the small community of Feria Beach and the RV park, which comes highly recommended, but to me, it feels like very tight quarters, at least from up here. It is pretty much always cool here by the coast, so as long as you have decent tanks and some solar, you don't really need hookups. We really ought to spend more time here. Perhaps 2 or 3 days. I believe our neighbors said they were staying for like 2 weeks. We definitely don't have the tanks for that, but a couple of days? Sure. We're just gonna enjoy our Pacific sunset here and continue on the road tomorrow. Yeah, this is a great spot. We should definitely come out here more often.
Well, yes, we've made it to one of my favorite places here, overlooking the Pacific Ocean and one of its iconic sunsets. This is Rincon Parkway, right here just west of Ventura, California, and yeah, it's a cool place. And here's Mom enjoying yet another Pacific sunset. And as it is maritime tradition, we're toasting with champagne. Cheers.
Cheers.
And we're gonna have a good time here. Sunset is in about 20 minutes, so say hello.
Hello.
I believe sailors call them sundowners when you have an adult beverage at sunset. Everybody seems to be having such a great time here by the ocean. And I really love our site here by the end. That would be Rincon Island, which is a man-made island constructed in 1958 specifically for oil drilling. Yeah, the more you know. And I believe it's being decommissioned. We also have some offshore oil platforms. Here the coast kind of faces south-southwest, and it is the dead of summer, so we're not gonna get an over-the-ocean sunset, which means no green flash. And here comes the Surfliner train. I just hope we don't get any trains passing by all through the night. Another day comes to an end. Check it out. You can see all the oil platforms all the way out there in the distance. Illuminated now. Oh, good morning. It is a brand new day.
Oh, good morning, birds.
Such a privilege to be able to fall asleep with the crashing of the waves next to you.
Oh yeah, all good things come to an end. But I think we can check this one off the list for this particular trip with Mom. Today we're gonna continue on the coast, going north. And the idea is to make it all the way to Paso Robles. Wouldn't it be cool if a train came by right now? It's not gonna do it, is it? Anyway, the road beckons. Let's hit the road. But let me tell you, I feel like lingering here forever.
They're playing tug of war down there, and even though there's a little bit of a marine layer, we can now see Rincon Island so clearly. Let me zoom in a little more. Yeah, I really don't want to go, but we must.
Our travels with Mom continue. We are going to go to a higher point in Ventura to see the view, and then we're going towards Santa Barbara, and eventually Pismo, and say hello.
Hello.
We're gonna spend the night
I'm very, very happy. I spent a wonderful time
by the Pacific.
in the Pacific coast and with my son.
It is so nice having all this parking right here next to the ocean. The last time I was here, I went into Ventura, to the top of a hill, with a cross, and from there you could see a pretty commanding view of the city by the ocean. I think I put the right coordinates on the GPS, so let's see where it takes us. We kept going up and up, but this somehow doesn't look familiar. I may have chosen the wrong coordinates. Oh no, dead end!
Wrong turn somewhere.
Yeah, obviously.
Do you know how to get to that vista point on top of the mountain? I was there before. Like,
You can drive up there?
we used to be able to. I don't know. I haven't been here in a while.
I'm just thinking.
There used to be there was like I want to say a cross or something on top of the mountain around here.
Huh.
But anyway,
I'm trying to
I don't
think.
want to keep on.
Sorry.
Alright, let's go back down. I'm obviously at the wrong place. It was worth a shot though. Nice houses up here, by the way. Let's get back on the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, which actually it is just the 101 around here. Next stop, a city that has been often been dubbed the American Riviera. We're talking about Santa Barbara, of course. I've heard in the past that it is not a very RV-friendly town, so we'll see. Beautiful coast. I can see what they call it, the Riviera. And I've been here before, so I know there is this nice pier, so let's try and park there. Alright, first 90 minutes free, but no vehicles over 22 feet. We were doing so well.
Hi.
You're too long.
Yeah, I just saw the sign.
Yeah. Go ahead and grab a ticket and then come back and turn around. There's parking over there.
Alright, thank you.
This wooden deck is creaking a lot. I just hope the pier can support our weight. Let me tell you, this would have worked out perfectly because there should be plenty of parking towards the end, especially at this time of the day. But they have their rules, so we must comply. In my original plan, we were going to have lunch at one of these restaurants, but plans change. It is too early for lunch anyway. Actually, this place is wide open, so I don't see the harm in parking for a few minutes. Let's just say it took me 5 minutes to turn around. It is actually a really cool pier, totally worth visiting. Actually, if this was a camper van, we would have no problem. This is awesome. Very similar coast to what we experienced in parts of southern Spain last year. I'm totally getting Costa del Sol vibes.
Yeah, technically over 22 feet you're not allowed to park here, but I told her, let me just do 5 minutes. It's not like the place is full or anything like that, right? And it's such a beautiful day here in the California Riviera, as they call it.
California is blessed with great weather and beautiful nature. By the way, when I was in southern Spain, I said the same thing, but the other way. I said I was totally getting California vibes. And I was. Alright, let's go park where we're supposed to. We're gonna park here for a few minutes, enjoy the beautiful scenery, perhaps walk a little, and then we continue. And that's where we were just a few minutes ago. Here there's also the Santa Barbara Mission. I mean, we might stop by, but Mom is already getting tired, so we may not be able to visit it. I'm gonna drive up to the mission, but that's really all I'm gonna do. It is such a picturesque town. There it is, Mission Santa Barbara, often called Queen of the Missions, founded by the Franciscans in 1786. The current building dates back to 1820, although in 1925 it was severely damaged by an earthquake, but it was rebuilt. Yeah, as I said, today is just gonna be a drive-by. Illy and I actually visited a few years back. Next stop, a Danish town on the Santa Ynez Valley called Solvang. Yeah, for this one we have to drive inland a little bit. It is going to be a beautiful drive through Los Padres National Forest. We can even see the ocean, way out there. Now crossing Cold Spring Canyon. That must be Lake Cachuma out there in the distance. Let's stop by the Vista Point.
Here we have some information about the dam.
The view from here, not that great. There was another pullout earlier. There, that's a little better. The Santa Ynez Valley is a very important wine region, immortalized by the movie Sideways from 2004. And well, Solvang is a charming Danish town. See what I told you? It is lovely. Actually settled by Danish people in the early 20th century, so it is totally legit, unlike other European-looking towns we've visited around the country. Helen, I'm looking at you. The first time we came in 2012, we stayed here at the King Frederick. Anyway, let's park.
Well, here we are. We've made it with Mom to the famous Danish town of Solvang in the Santa Ynez Valley in California. Let's see if we can find something to munch on. By the way, Peli Cruiser, like a champ.
Solvang is very notorious not only for the Danish pastry shops, which are great, but also the wineries. The town is dotted with tasting rooms. Also, picture-perfect architecture. I think Mom is in the mood for a gelato. Now for the baked goods.
Well, as you do in Solvang, we're gonna have some Danish pastries. So we're gonna share this. This is a Jamaican rum cake with chocolate mousse and almond tart. Should be good.
Yeah, that was delicious. We're going to walk around a little more and then on the road again.
Let's do it. We're getting back to the RV. Next up, I think it's gonna be Pismo Beach. Oh, there it is. Our trusty home on wheels. Peli Cruiser. Well, we'll continue. I think it is safe to say that on this trip we're doing the highlights. Let's call it the best of California, or of the California coast at least. All right, onward we go.
here we are, arriving at Pismo Beach. Beautiful coastal town, but I think Mom has had enough walking for one day, so no, we're not gonna walk the pier or eat at that famous clam chowder place. Not this time anyway.
Did you see that parallel parking? I think I'm getting the hang of it. The hang of this. I'm a little tired. We've been driving a lot. Mom is even more tired as she's staying there, but I wanted to take a picture of this beautiful coastline here in Pismo Beach. Check it out. By the way, absolutely no overnight parking here, but we've got a spot. Beautiful. Oh, check it out. Check it out. Fly pelicans! Can you imagine this being your front porch?
It is such a beautiful part of the coast. And somewhere out there is that restaurant that had all the pelicans hanging out. Ventana Grill.
Look at all those oceano dunes. Someday we'll camp there.
Yeah, someday, sooner than later, we're gonna camp over there. And look at all the pelicans migrating. Fly pelicans!
I don't want to leave Mom alone in there for too long, so let's do it. Did I mention we're staying at a winery tonight?
Pismo is such a cool town, but today, as I said, we're just doing the drive around tour. Splash Cafe on the right there. That's the place with the famous clam chowder, for good reason. Do watch my previous video in this area if you can find it. In that video, we also walked the pier and had lunch with viewers from the area at that restaurant I mentioned, Ventana Grill. And that's the sign that you would take your picture with. Let's stop by Ventana Grill, if only for the views. If memory serves, they had a pretty large parking lot. Let's hope I'm not sticking out too much. Before getting to our harvest host, we're going to drive by Morro Bay, which is one of the highlights of this trip along the Pacific Coast Highway. There it is, the Morro Rock. There's an area here by the waterfront with shops, restaurants. I mean, I wish we were hungry, particularly Mom, because they make a clam chowder in a sourdough bowl that is really good. At least I thought it was when we came for the first time in 2012. Let's go around and we could actually park here. I tried to convince Mom to get off and walk around a little, but nope. So we're going to go to the winery and call it a night. The winery is called Rocky Creek, and it is kind of halfway between the coast and Paso Robles proper. As we approach Whale Rock Reservoir, here's where my mom, who is the ultimate city girl, started getting scared that we were perhaps going too remote. If she only knew what's coming towards the tail end of the trip. In my experience, the more remote, the safest it is. Yeah, granted, this is a pretty isolated mountain road, Old Creek Road it is called. But it's really just a shortcut. Tomorrow we'll take a different route back to the coast. I see some vineyards, we must be getting close. And here's the junction with the main road, Green Valley Road. We are almost there. Here we are, Rocky Creek Cellars. Let's go up this road. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to park back here, but let me check in, go in, and make sure. We'll do the wine tasting later.
Time really got away. I was planning the next couple of days and I was gonna film the sunset and all that, and all of a sudden it's almost dark. Yes, sunset just happened like, I don't know, 10 minutes ago. We are kind of remote here. Not really, it feels more remote than it is. To be honest, Mom is kind of freaked out because she's never been this remote, right? Yeah, she's used to being around, places where people are around, so. But let me show you. This is a beautiful location here. I mean, it's, compared to what we've seen, it's not that beautiful, but look at this. It's, we have this ravine here behind us, all to ourselves. And the only thing, I had to deploy a Starlink Mini. There's a little bit of LTE here, but not enough to work efficiently. And I kind of planned out the next few days. Time is really getting away from us on this trip. Tomorrow is going to be a week already that we've been on the road, and it feels like, I had all these ambitious plans, as I said before. So I think tomorrow we're going to try to make it around to Santa Cruz and see as much as possible of Big Sur. The thing is, the Highway 1 is closed at some point, so I'm going to have to backtrack. We'll see. And then, San Francisco, and we're going to try to, of all the places that I had planned originally, I think the only one that is really going to come to fruition is Yosemite. And maybe if we have to cross the Mojave Desert, might as well do it at Death Valley, right? Which is one of the most underrated national parks, I think, in my opinion. Well, anyway, here we are. And by the way, great wines. This gentleman, I think his name was John. He's pretty much doing it as a hobby at this point in his life, and he just does artisanal wines. He has great Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon and a great what was it? It wasn't the Cab and the Zinfandel were my least favorite, but Cabernet Franc and a Shiraz that was excellent. Anyway, the journey continues tomorrow. I'm gonna get some work done and plan a little more, and the California loop with Mom continues tomorrow.
Well, good morning. From somewhere between Paso Robles and the coast. A little bit of a late start, if you ask me. This was a nice harvest host, very quiet. We were the only ones here. And now, well, now it is time to go.
Alright, it was a quiet night. Beautiful property here. I mean, not necessarily beautiful, but beautiful area. And yeah, it was fine. We're halfway through the trip with Mom.
Hello, good morning.
And
Ready to continue the travel to the north.
and today may be the most ambitious day of the whole trip. We're gonna try to make it. This is the thing. The Pacific Coast Highway is closed in certain areas, so we're gonna have to like backtrack, and then you'll see. And tonight we're gonna stay somewhere between Monterey and Santa Cruz. And tomorrow, San Francisco, and yeah, adventures ahead for sure.
To see the San Francisco Bridge is incredible. And Sausalito, I love it.
On the road again. Let's go back down to the coast. The best parts of the Pacific Coast Highway lay ahead. There it is, once again, the Pacific Ocean. We can even see Morro Rock way out there in the distance. Let's pull over for a few minutes, take a break, admire the view. The terrain is a little more rugged than I was expecting, especially for Peli Cruiser, but I think it is going to be worth it.
Well, apparently you can boondock here. This magnificent view. And I believe that might be the Morro Rock down there. Certainly looks like it.
Such a great view. We definitely have to boondock here at some point. And we're back down at sea level. So the adventure along the coast continues. Let's stop, take another break, and more importantly, taking the views. And I don't even think these are the best views yet.
Don't fly away, little crow. Well, you take a look at this coast. We're getting to the good part now. Yep. Beautiful coastline out here in California. Stopped here for 1 second because check it out. That up there is the famous Hearst Castle. One of these days we're gonna visit, but not today. It's like a half a day thing, so. But there it is.
Now approaching Piedras Blancas, our next point of interest. This is Elephant Seal Beach, and it must be the off-season because the other 2 times I've been here, there were dozens of elephant seals frolicking in the sand. And these are the white rocks that give this place its name. Piedras Blancas being literally white rocks in Spanish. That's the Piedras Blancas light station, and there's a trail to get to it, but we're obviously not gonna do it with Mom. And here we have some seals. They don't look very lively now, do they? We actually moved to a different viewpoint. There are some in the water. There's one coming this way. Kind of awkward the way they move on land. Really fascinating creatures. Alright, I need to take a break. I guess with that awkward mode of locomotion, they get tired and need to take breaks often. I could be here watching them for hours. But we do need to get to the Monterey Bay area at some point before sundown today. We're going to go a little further north, but eventually we have to take a detour because the Pacific Coast Highway, I believe I mentioned it before, it is closed at the Big Sur area. When we get to the next stop, I'll show you what we're going to do. Oh yeah, we are now getting to the good part. Now that we almost have to turn around. And this is the thing, they never got around to building a road crossing these mountains coming up ahead. So the coast is completely isolated from the valley on the other side except for the Pacific Coast Highway. So if this one is closed, there's nothing we can do but turn around. But I want to drive a little north, get to at least one of the better vista points. This is truly one of the most scenic drives in the whole United States. Take a look at this secluded beach here. And this is where we turn around. Wow, that's amazing. This is the beginning of the most scenic part of the road. We're near a place called the Ragged Point, where they have a restaurant and a hotel. Now we have to backtrack all the way to Paso Robles because that's the only way.
Well, here we are. This is one of those quintessential views of the California coastline. And here's Mom. Say hello. I'm gonna go up this trail, see if there's anything to see over there. Let me see if I can dig up that photo, but many years ago, I took a picture, sitting on one of these branches. I don't recall exactly where it was, but it was somewhere around here. And unfortunately, this is the thing. The road is closed a few miles down that way, around the Bixby Creek Bridge or something like that. So we're not gonna be able to continue. And nobody has figured out a way to build a road crossing these mountains just west of us. So we're gonna have to go all the way around. We have to backtrack 20 miles and then, which is good because I've never taken the 101 down that way. Let's see if there's a view this way. I think there is. It's like a short trail. I think this is one of the best views here. They should just cut down some of these trees, huh? I am kidding, of course. All right, let's continue. You know, it's time is kind of the essence today. Mom had breakfast this morning, but I haven't. So I'm gonna have a little bit of Greek yogurt with blueberries. I'm the only one drinking from this pot, so I'm just putting it there, and I know you're not supposed to, but she has her own yogurt. By the way, I just love traveling in a motorhome. It's so convenient.
To recap, we came from Las Vegas, did a little bit of the Los Angeles area, then from Ventura to here, and now we're going to turn around and backtrack, take the 101 all the way to Carmel by the sea, and there we're gonna go back south to at least Bixby Bridge. Not ideal, but it is what it is. I mean, I've never done that part of the 101, so it might be picturesque. Who knows? We're back in wine country as we approach Paso Robles. Now on the 101. That speed limit sign doesn't really apply to me anymore. I mean, as long as we travel with Pelicruiser. That's the culprit. Those are the mountains standing between us and the ocean. The reason for this big detour. Now Google took us on this back road called Arroyo Seco to save us a few minutes, as it usually does. That's gotta be back-breaking work. I would know because I did something similar for a few weeks as a teenager. Just Google school in the countryside, Cuba.
It is time for another RV cooking show, and this ground beef is frozen solid. Let's see how this works. We're gonna make some picadillo, special formulas, special, I don't know, we'll see. And it's not even that hot, but I am gonna turn on the AC on low just because we can. We're about half an hour away from Monterey, and now we're gonna backtrack a little bit on the Pacific Coast Highway, see some of the stuff that we missed, or that we haven't seen yet, rather. Whoop, hold on. Maybe it'll help if I do this first. First try, good.
All right, let's do this. A little bit of salt and black pepper. I've got some frozen onions and peppers here, keeping it simple. And Mom doesn't really like tomatoes, and she has a very low salt diet, so I'm gonna modify my recipe here a little bit. But I'm just working it. See if we can get this ground beef to thaw someday. That's it. I'm gonna add those frozen veggies. A little more salt while Mom isn't looking. Let me get my spices ready. Smoked paprika, lots of it, for color and flavor. Garlic powder since we don't have the real thing. Oregano. Cumin. And cooking wine. I bought this instant white rice for Mom. I think she's gonna like it. You know, real Cubans and rice. It's gotta be there with every meal. I think it came out pretty good, if I may say so myself.
We had lunch, we had some picadillo. Took a little longer than expected, but we may not be able to see everything that I wanted to see on the coast, but we're gonna backtrack now a little bit on the Pacific Coast Highway. I wanted to make it to the point where it is closed, but I want to get to the campground during the daytime as well, so we'll see.
I didn't show you how we got here, but we had lunch at a town called Serra Village. And now we're going towards Monterey, the first capital of California during the Spanish and Mexican periods, before it was a state. Then it moved to San Jose and eventually Sacramento. There's a huge traffic jam going into Monterey, so we're gonna drive through Carmel by the sea instead. It's another lovely town, but too many stop signs. Let's do what we came here to do, but first, gas.
$5.39. That may have been the most expensive gas to date, but we're in a quirky, cute gas station, and this is the last gas station before hitting the Pacific Coast Highway, like towards the middle of nowhere. Actually, I don't know if I can do this. Anybody coming that way? And I didn't hit. Good. Here we go. Will we make it to McWay Falls? Probably not. What do you think, Mom? Are we gonna make it or we're not gonna make it? We're not gonna make it. We'll make it as far as we can. Look at the house. That's a nice house on top of that hill.
I'm gonna pull over real quick. And in my original plan, we were going to make it all the way to McWay Falls. It's what, like an hour drive? But Mom is tired and we just don't have the time. We're gonna run out of daylight here, especially if we're gonna stop at some of the vista points. There it is, Bixby Bridge. Ooh, I can stop here. Can't really see it all that well from here, but we're gonna try and stop there, right there by the bridge. See it up close. Hopefully we'll find parking. Let me tell you, Mom was super tired, falling asleep, but as soon as she saw the view, she perked up, started putting lipstick on, and it is our lucky day. We found parking. This is it, built in 1932. This is, perhaps, the most iconic bridge on the PCH and one of the most photographed in the whole state of California because of the graceful architecture and magnificent setting, as someone once said. And the setting is magnificent for sure. I mean, take a look at this place. Words are not enough to describe the glorious beauty of the Pacific Coast.
Well, this is it. Even if we don't make it much further south, I mean, this is one of the most iconic spots on the Pacific Coast Highway, California Highway 1. We got a little bit of, marine layer rolling in. I mean, it's like nature just pulled all those stops to make this the most memorable stop. Pun intended or no pun intended. Anyway, I think we're gonna drive a little farther south, but I doubt we're gonna make it to Macway Falls. I mean, it is still like 45 minutes, and I do want to make it back to the, make it to the KOA during the daytime. Yeah, this is a spectacular spot.
Let's look down into the precipice. Yeah, it is one of those places.
All right, let's check out the view from up there real quick. Oh, there's no way to go. I have to go this way. I'm gonna risk my life crossing the street here.
That's it. Pretty cool too.
Take a look at that view.
Yeah, it's like a postcard.
Let's see if we can cross back to the other side. Crossing back to the other side. After this guy. Crossing back to the other side. And I'm gonna take one last selfie here, just because I just can't help myself.
Now let's drive over the famous Bixby Bridge. We're going to do a couple more miles south, and then we're going back north. We're gonna stay at a KOA roughly halfway between Monterey and Santa Cruz. We've been boondocking for a couple of days in a row, so it is time for a long shower. I believe that's Point Sur over there. Let's stop one more time. Nice secluded private beach here. And now we turn around. And I know you're gonna say, Robert, you missed the best parts. I know, but Mom is awfully tired and tomorrow we have another big day ahead of us. If the PCH hadn't been closed, it would have been a totally different story. I'm gonna stop one last time to get a nice shot at Point Sur, thus saying goodbye to this magnificent section of the coast. Now descending onto Monterey, California. The drive around Monterey Bay, longer than expected, and we've encountered a lot of traffic. So yeah, this is what we've done. Tomorrow we're going to San Francisco. We're gonna be staying at the Moss Landing KOA, which is not a journey or a holiday or even a resort. This one is called KOA Express. First time I see this type, maybe something they're trying out. In any case, very nice, very convenient for a quick overnight, very close to the freeway, and there seems to be a lot to do in this area. It seems to be a lovely town, so as I say, we will return.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. I lost the count of how many years I in the road.
Years. I think she means days, not years. But anyway.
For me, it's like years.
There you go. Go figure. Anyway, we're a little behind schedule, but as is usually the case. We're gonna stop by Santa Cruz first for like 5 minutes just to see it. We're gonna have a couple of stops, not in San Francisco proper, but some certain viewpoints of San Francisco. Then we're gonna visit an old-time viewer and friend in Manteca, California, and then we're gonna get close to Yosemite. I don't know how close.
Ponme la cámara para acá. A ver, parece
Yeah,
ya.
sure, yeah.
Ah. Have a nice day.
All right. On the road again, going north to the Bay Area.
Moss Landing here seems like a nice spot. We will return, probably as soon as early 2026. Our first stop is going to be in Santa Cruz, which is a lovely town, and then San Francisco. Mom would be upset if we didn't, at the very least, cross the Golden Gate Bridge. We've had a late start, so today we won't be able to do all that much more. Like the one we saw in Santa Barbara a couple of days ago, Santa Cruz also has a pier called the Municipal Wharf. Although this one I'm not gonna try and drive with Pelicruiser. Instead, we're gonna try and park along Cliff Drive. If memory serves, there were great views of the bay and the wharf, the boardwalk. There it is. We can definitely see the wharf back there. Even though it is a little foggy this morning. You know, that pesky marine layer. It hasn't burned off yet. Would you look at all these houses here? Very nice area. You know, to walk along the cliffside. Parking may not be as easy as I thought. I should try and find a place where we can back in, because, you know, we have a pretty big overhang. I think this parking lot might work. Let's see if there's any open spaces. It's gonna be tight, but I have a great turning radius and an old but decent rear view camera. Like a glove, baby. Like a glove. The fog's rolling in, and Mom decided to stay in the RV, even though this stop was more for her than for me. Very nice area to go for a walk, although today I'll be brief. I don't want to leave her in the RV by herself for too long. But we'll be back.
I mean, we're definitely coming back to this area probably in November, maybe December. And check that out, with the fog rolling in. It's we're finally getting some Pacific Coast, like, typical weather, huh?
I'm going to walk a little more, but not too much. We can barely see the boardwalk, which is very historic and the oldest surviving amusement park in California.
Yeah, the Santa Cruz pier almost engulfed in all this fog.
I'm gonna start heading back to the RV.
We have a lot of people here clearly living in their camper vans. I don't know if they overnight here, I don't know if you're allowed, but a lot of camper van people.
And that's the lighthouse, which nowadays houses the Santa Cruz Surfing Museum. And here's our parking lot.
You see many camper vans of all types here. And there's Pelicruiser. That's what I call parking skills.
Lots of people here who, you can tell, are probably living out of their vehicles. Again, I wonder if overnight camping is allowed here, or if not, if it is enforced. Who knows? there it is, the wharf and the boardwalk behind it. Here's the entrance to the wharf, but right now I'm just gonna stop by the boardwalk and continue towards the city by the bay. Very cool to see the boardwalk. These types of waterfront amusement parks I think of as more of an East Coast thing, like the Jersey Shore has plenty of them, for example. This one, however, has been here since 1907 and it's totally a thing. Let me pull over for a few minutes.
This is it. The famous amusement park. The famous boardwalk. Santa Cruz, California.
Alright, onward we go. It should be a pretty scenic drive from here to San Francisco. I mean, not as scenic as Big Sur, but I think we're gonna have a few moments. Yeah, the coast is dotted with all these secluded beaches. Would that be the Pigeon Point Lighthouse? I'm pretty sure it is. Pretty scenic drive so far. Not bad at all. Now approaching the outskirts of San Francisco. And here's our welcome to San Francisco traffic jam. Ooh, nice landscaping. There, we can already see the towers of the Golden Gate Bridge. They're huge. I mean, we're still pretty far away and we can already see them. Now crossing Golden Gate Park. We'll be at the bridge soon. This is actually really good weather for August. I'm surprised we don't have more fog. I mean, there is a reason why they call it Fogust. Let's stop at the North Vista Point. and see if we can find parking with Pelicruiser. Not the best, but it'll work. There it is, that iconic view of the Golden Gate Bridge from this unique vantage point.
Well, here we are. As you saw, we parked back there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not blocking anything. And here's that iconic view of the Golden Gate Bridge. And here's Mom taking pictures. And there's downtown San Francisco back there. It's a little foggy today, a little nebulous, but you know, I'll zoom in.
It is very windy here and kind of chilly. There it is, the city by the bay. Probably one of the most beautiful cities in the United States, in part because of its unique geographical location.
A busy place. Everybody here trying to take a picture, iconic picture with the Golden Gate downtown.
That over there, Alcatraz Island. We must revisit again one of these days. How about some street food?
Street food, baby. I don't know how I'm gonna eat this, but it looks delicious. I think I'm gonna take it to the RV. Well, that's it. Everybody trying to get that perfect shot with the Golden Gate Bridge and you know, the downtown skyline back there. And yeah, I had one of those hot dogs. I mean, it was good, not great. And then we finished eating in the RV. You know, Mom, we reheated some picadillo and whatnot. But it was good. It was a good hot dog, and these folks, they kind of rotate. You know, she's here now, and then she'll be like over there in a few minutes. It's weird. All right, off we go. I'm gonna try to hit one more vista point, and then we're going to Manteca, California, which is Spanish for lard. Well, that was very serendipitous and fortuitous that we were able to park there.
To take the Alexander Avenue road.
Alexander Avenue, this bus stop. And now there's plenty of room, so we're gonna try to go up that hill, get the other better view of San Francisco with the Golden Gate in the foreground, and then we're going to Sausalito.
We'll see about Sausalito because we're running late. The really good view is here to the right, but it says no RVs. Even though we hardly qualify as an RV, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna park here for a few minutes. I mean, there is plenty of room for our 25-foot Class C. This is not the best view because you can't really see the whole downtown. This one looks promising, but there's no parking. Now our ETA has increased by a lot, I mean like double. And Google actually wants me to go through the middle of the city. Going into the San Francisco hills with an RV is not my idea of fun, but it'll have to be done. Also, there is a toll on the Golden Gate Bridge going into the city, and I don't have a transponder, but I guess they'll just take a picture of my license plate and bill me later. It is certainly going to be an adventure. I mean, San Francisco is not for the faint of heart, even with a passenger vehicle, so hold on to your hats, because we're going in with Peli Cruiser. The die is cast. This here is Lombard Street, and if memory serves, it is one of the steepest streets in the city, a little farther down, so I'm going to seek an alternate route. We had to make an executive decision to skip Sausalito. I'm sure Mom was disappointed, she was looking forward to it, but we're seriously running like 4 hours behind schedule. As it is, we're probably going to arrive at our destination in the dark. By the way, this one is pretty steep too. A lot more than it looks on camera, but it is not Lombard steep for sure. It's totally doable. We're slowly approaching the heart of the city, and let me tell you, the city has character. It's got some unique architecture. All of a sudden, it looks like we are in Chinatown. And not just any Chinatown. This is one of the oldest in North America and one of the largest Chinese enclaves outside of Asia. As we turn here on Columbus Avenue, this has to be hands down one of the most iconic views of the city, with the Transamerica Pyramid at the center of it all. That green, triangular, flatiron style building, Columbus Tower, very famous and historic too, dating back to 1907. We definitely ought to spend more time here. It's some authentic Chinese, but right now we have different plans. And we are bound to encounter horrible traffic getting out of the city. So I hope you don't mind the quick time-lapse of our San Francisco exit here towards the legendary Bay Bridge. Now entering the famous Bay Bridge on the lower deck, and this is almost the western terminus of I-80. It actually begins 2 miles back at the junction with the 101, and it goes all the way to New Jersey, where it terminates at I-95 just west of the Hudson River. It is the second longest interstate after I-90. Maybe one day we'll take it all the way through. Pretty good view to our side here. We can see the ferry building and the clock tower. Very cool. The bridge's official name is the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, but I think everybody just shortens it to Bay Bridge. It opened in 1936, 6 months before the more famous Golden Gate Bridge. That's Oakland. We've never actually been to Oakland. Should we visit? What do you guys think? Now, getting out of the Bay Area, this was the longest slow-moving traffic jam I have ever experienced. And I've been to New York, Seattle, Atlanta, Houston, and I'm from Miami for crying out loud. But this one was endless miles of bumper-to-bumper traffic, and it took several hours. It is otherwise a beautiful, barren, golden landscape. Very California. At least we have the sun behind us. An eternity later, we are arriving at a town called Manteca, California, where longtime viewer and friend Alan is waiting for us. When I realized we were going to be driving through Manteca a couple of days ago, I reached out, so we're going to stop for a quick visit.
So we are here with our friend Alan Chitwood. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's it.
In the city of Lard. It's actually Manteca, California, but as you know, Manteca, it means Lord in Spanish. So, hey, come in the sun so people can see you, man. It's great to meet you finally in person.
Thank you, Alan, for the beer, the wine, and the cane you gave my mom. Till we meet again, hopefully soon. Next stop, Yosemite Pines RV Resort and Family Lodging. One of those places with an unnecessarily long name, but it has pretty good reviews. That's where we're going to spend the night, which I'm pretty sure we're gonna arrive at night, tonight. And that was unnecessarily too many nights. But there are more coming, because I was originally gonna spend only one night, but I think I'm gonna extend it to two since we're arriving so late. Oakdale here seems like a nice town, and very soon we're going to get our first glimpse at the foothills of the Sierra Nevada, home to the tallest mountain in the contiguous United States. We're gonna see it here in a couple of days. There, we're getting close. Ooh, roller coaster! And the sun has set. Many times, actually most of the time, the best colors happen right after sunset. We're running out of daylight really quickly here.
Well, good morning. Decided to spend one extra night here. You know, it's been go without rest, and I'm kind of tired. So today we're gonna explore, you know, quick exploration, probably 1 or 2 hours of the giant sequoias. Then we have a live stream, and tomorrow we're going to Yosemite. Although I think to go to the giant sequoias we have to go through Yosemite first. More research should have gone into this.
The thing about being on Pacific time, the Friday live stream happens at 3 p.m. So it kind of cuts your day in half, but at this point in the trip, I'm ready for a 0 day anyway, or almost zero, as you know I can't help myself. This, by the way, is Groveland, the closest town to our RV park. It's pretty nice. It's got groceries, hotels, restaurants, and most importantly, a gas station. Vista Point. Let's stop.
Well, here we are. Check out this view. I mean, the camera will not do it justice, but it's still a good view.
And here's Mom enjoying the view.
Well, here we are, stopped at our first Vista Point of this journey today. And we've got... People tell me to say it, people tell me not to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We got commanding views here with Mom.
Hi.
All this, by the way, part of the Stanislaus National Forest. This is called the Rim of the World. Very cool. Let's continue because I have a feeling better views are coming up ahead.
It looks like a dry creek down there. Here we are, entering the park. Let's take a photo with the sign. My interagency annual pass, also known as America the Beautiful, is expired, so I'm going to get a new one.
Morning.
Hi!
I'd like to purchase the interagency annual pass.
This will be $80.
There you go.
Would you like a map today?
Yes, please. And just one quick question, I don't want to hold up the line. What would you say is the best spot to see giant sequoias? Would that be Mariposa or?
Yeah, the Mariposa Grove, yeah. It has the right soil, temperature, all of that. We're going to have you print and sign your name on the back. Do you want a map today?
Yes.
Like there are some along Tioga Pass, but they're really short and tiny because it's not quite suited for them.
Thank you very much.
Now we are officially in Yosemite. We're going to make our way to the valley, and if we have time after that, we'll go see the giant sequoias. But let's face it, we're not gonna have time if we want to eat and then do the live stream. The views keep getting better and better. Check it out! Half Dome! We gotta stop for a few minutes. Okay, how are we gonna do this? We'll figure it out. Here's our first view of the valley and two of its most prominent features. On the left, El Capitan, and next to it, the unmistakable Half Dome.
This is, again, that quintessential first view of Half Dome and Yosemite Valley. We have the faces of Half Dome.
Apparently, it looks different from every direction.
And here's Mom, looking at Half Dome. Well, as I said, our first view, our first glimpse of what is going to be Yosemite Valley back there. And I know the views get much better, you know. Hopefully we get to see it today.
Everywhere you look, it is an amazing mountainous landscape. Let's stop again. I mean, it's not Half Dome, but still a pretty spectacular view. What a place, what a place. Billy Cruiser is here, and Mom in it. Now entering Yosemite Valley, and we're going to go to one specific viewpoint where Mom won't have to walk much, and it is the quintessential view. Yeah, we're going to Tunnel View. This is it. Let's find parking. That's it. That's the view from the postcard and the picture at the entrance of the park. Only one thing is missing. Do you know what it might be?
Here we are, here's Mom, here's the RV, and we got very lucky to be able to find parking here right in front of the tunnel view. And there's even more parking on this side, but yeah, it's getting to be that time of the day when parking becomes scarce here in Yosemite, and this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get back to the campground because I do have the live stream at 3 p.m. Pacific time today, but tomorrow we're going to return to the valley and see as much as we can see, and maybe even going to try to go to the Mariposa Grove to see some giant sequoias. Anyway, let's head back. Yeah, this never gets old.
What a magnificent place this is, particularly this view towards the entrance of the valley. The one thing I mentioned that was missing is, well, the waterfalls. Bridal Veil here is nothing but a trickle, and I've heard Yosemite Falls is completely dry. That's what happens in late summer, I suppose. Bad timing. There it is, El Capitan. I wonder if anybody is climbing it today. And that's it for Yosemite for today. We'll be back tomorrow for more spectacular views. here we are, back at Yosemite Pines. As it is the case many times with us, we're not really gonna take advantage of all the amenities. It is just a gateway point from which to explore the surrounding area. It is actually very nice, kind of rustic, but clean and efficient. I only got a water and electric side since originally I was only gonna stay one night, but they do have some full hookups as well.
So we're back at the campsite. It felt longer than it was, that drive. Anyway, we're gonna make whatever we have, which is bacon and eggs. We don't really have any other protein except that old, did you see it? Chicken salad. But first I need some coffee. And in about an hour we have the live stream. Whoop.
Well, yeah, it is time for another RV cooking show especial. I always like to smell this stuff because these absorption refrigerators don't always keep up, especially in extremely hot conditions like what we've been experiencing. And it's only going to get worse. We have to try and consume all this bacon before the end of the trip. Alright, let's get out the cutting board and let's look for that ham, whose freshness could be doubtful. It smells okay. This stuff is so processed anyway. Cracking some eggs, and I'm sorry they're a little bit off frame. And I'm going to open the roof vent for ventilation. I'm gonna put some of that barbecue rub on the eggs. The bacon should be almost done. I think this plate is melting with all the hot bacon on it. Oh well, that's a little more plastic in your food. I've got some frozen veggies for our scrambled eggs. I'm gonna cook that ham a little bit, just in case, any bacteria and whatnot. As I mentioned, that fridge hasn't really been keeping up. These absorption style fridges are not made for the extreme hot weather.
We'll call it lunch.
That afternoon, I did the live stream, and that's pretty much all I did.
Yeah. And here we have Alan Chitwood, who we actually visited yesterday evening ever so briefly. Hey, Alan. How you doing, man? And Alan gave me this, Mom only lets me drink one beer per episode, right? So he gave me this 9.2% and 19.2 fluid ounce Torpedo IPA, Atomic Torpedo IPA from Sierra Nevada. How appropriate that we drink a Sierra Nevada in the Sierra Nevada. So cheers, everybody. Well, good morning. In Houston, we have a problem. I was really looking forward to showing you how we've been doing here with the bunk bed, it goes up and down. Except that it doesn't go up anymore. Let me show you what happened. So this morning, I woke up and I was gonna, put the bunk bed back up, and this happened. You see, there's the motor laying there, and this part right here, this rod, I don't know exactly what it's called. It broke. It broke down. It's supposed to look like this. Well, on that side, the motor is on the bottom, but same concept. I don't know if I can fix this. I think for now I'm just gonna try to prop it up manually and hold it with that telescopic ladder that I have somehow. And eventually, when we get to Vegas, remove it all together. That's it. This is unless someone knows how to fix this, which you guys are not gonna see this right now, but in the future, I don't see a way to fix this. And anyway. I'll let you know what we figure out. Well, as the late Jim Lovell would have said, Houston, we've had a problem. Yeah, as I told you, our bunk bed has busted out, and all that is holding it in place on this side is the table, really. The table for the dinette. So, we'll see how this turns out. I'll take it slow, and for now, what we're gonna do, we're modifying the plan. We were gonna spend the night at the Lone Pine, which is right there in front of Mount Whitney. It was gonna be a one night there at the town, but we're gonna make a beeline for Stovepipe Wells in oh man, it's been a rough morning. In Death Valley. It's gonna be hot, but we'll take it slow. And instead of the RV park, I moved to the hotel. So we're going to have a room at the hotel, and this is for now going to be our touring coach. And we'll have to crawl back here to get to the bathroom and whatnot. Yeah, let me do something. This cushion is going to have to go up here for now. But we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. Roll with the punches. Never a dull day in RV life, huh? Like they say. Next stop, Lee Vining, and we're gonna have lunch there. Enjoy the ride. It still should be a pretty ride through Yosemite National Park. We're just not gonna be able to see the valley, the rest of the valley. It is what it is.
First stop, the dump station, of course, because when nature calls, then that black sensor says 2/3, so might as well. We're not gonna have full hookups until Vegas, which is not gonna happen one day early, but still. Options, like they say. And yeah, I know, who was I kidding? We're gonna go into the valley. You know we are. I wanna corroborate the fact that Yosemite Falls is indeed not flowing, because let me tell you, when it is, it's truly a sight to behold. I was reading Wikipedia, and apparently it is a common occurrence for it to be dry in late summer. Who knew? I still can't believe it. In order to see Yosemite Falls, we do have to go deeper into the valley. I think Yosemite Falls should have been somewhere over that rock face. I think I see the watermarks, but I'm not sure. There, that's it. And this is what it's supposed to look like. Do check out my video from back in 2019. I think you're gonna like it, and without a doubt, being a YouTuber really accelerates the aging process. Back to the present. Let's take a closer look at that non-waterfall.
That is totally crazy.
It's completely dry. When I did Yosemite Falls back in 2019, I decided to go the extra mile and went all the way up to Yosemite Point, and what a view from up there. And since I already loaded that video, might as well show you what it looks like.
Oh my gosh, now we're talking. Whoa!
Magnificent views all around us. Look at Half Dome back there. Anyway, before I continue salivating over all this beautiful granite, at least I hope it is granite, now the plan is to continue driving east, crossing the Sierra Nevada at Tioga Pass, 9,945 feet or 3,031 meters above sea level. We'll definitely be able to test how well Pelicruiser performs at high elevation. Actually, hold that thought. Let me stop here for a second to take a picture for Mom. As I was saying, after Tioga Pass, we're gonna take the Eastern Sierra Scenic Byway, US 395, from where we'll be able to see the highest peak in the contiguous United States, Mount Whitney, at 14,505 feet. That's 4,421 in meters. And then we're going to the lowest point in North America, at Death Valley. So the rest of this day will be an adventure of extremes. Oh, and extreme heat will also be involved. But I forgot to put gas back in Groveland, and we won't see another gas station for like 80 miles, and I don't want to risk it. We're just gonna have to loop back for a little bit. I hope you enjoy the views. It looks like we're gonna have to exit the park through this other entrance in order to get to the gas station. And then we have to go back into the park. I mean, what a detour. At least it is a very scenic drive. This is El Portal, another gateway town with hotels, restaurants, and most important, you guessed correctly, gas station. Now that we're all gassed up, this is what the rest of the day is going to look like. Now we have to go back into the park. At least there's no line. Oh no! You know, a clearance sign would have been nice. Here we go, Tioga Road, to the left. To the left, to the left. Oh, what a view, what a view. We definitely need to spend a week here, at least. And with that, we say goodbye to Half Dome. Well, kind of. To this side of Half Dome, we might actually see it one more time. Now we're gonna turn east, and it turns out there was another gas station here. We could have saved at least half an hour, but we wouldn't have seen El Portal or the views from that road. Now we're going to start gaining some serious elevation as we're about to cross the Sierra Nevada, at one of a handful of places, also called mountain passes, where you actually can. To put it in perspective, the valley was around 4,000 feet, the junction with Tioga Road a little over 6,000, Tioga Pass, where we're going, almost 10,000. The terrain is a lot rockier at these higher elevations. Now we're starting to see some expansive views of the Sierra. This road does close during winter, and it doesn't reopen until sometimes as late as June. It almost looks like snow, and they do get snow here, lots of it. But in this case, it is just exposed granite. And now it's starting to rain. I can see why the bus is stopping here. You can see the very tip of Half Dome. I told you we weren't done with Half Dome, not yet, and here it is from the other side. And I thought I had passed the bus for good, but here it is in front of us again. It was going a little too slow for my taste. Anyway, here we have a great vista point coming up, and I don't care if it is raining. This one we have to stop. It is called Olmsted Point Overlook. Well, yeah, this is pretty much the main reason to stop here. This view of Half Dome from the other side. And if you squint hard enough, you can see all the people hiking it. It's not really visible with the naked eye, but with my zoom lens, you can clearly see them on the chains going up and at the summit.
Yeah, this is that other point. Is it Olmsted Point? Where you get to see Half Dome from the other side. Someday I might be able to climb it, but not today. Yeah, we are nearing the highest point here, and yeah, it's an incredible sight. And in typical national park fashion, here we have a raised relief map of the valley, of what we're seeing, and there it is, Half Dome, and then Yosemite Valley goes that way. It's quite a sight to see. Yeah, too bad the broken bed has kind of put a damper on things here, but anyway, we're nearing the end of the trip. I'm glad it happened now and not at the beginning. We continue.
These are some amazing mountains.
Sierra Nevada in front of us.
Yeah, that's gotta be Tenaya Lake over there. The hike that I wanna do here next year, well, the trailhead is there. All these cars parked here, this has to be the trailhead. The Sunrise Lakes trailhead that goes to Clouds Rest. That's the hike that I wanna do. It is, of course, crowded. This being one of the most popular national parks, being internationally known, and also pretty close to the Bay Area, so pretty accessible, within a day's drive for a lot of people. We're approaching Tuolumne Meadows. Yeah, don't say Tulumne, even though it's written that way. And there is a campground here. Here's the Cathedral Lakes trailhead and the visitor center. There's a lodge, a restaurant, and the campground, of course, which is primitive, no cell phone signal, and pretty far away from the valley, but still pretty good. And we're getting pretty heavy rain now as we approach the summit.
At 9,400 feet, and even in late August, you can see a little bit of snow up there on that mountain.
Here we are, we've reached the summit, Tioga Pass, the eastern entrance to Yosemite National Park. And it's time for a little experiment.
Here we are, Tioga Pass. Let's do a quick experiment. Let's see how this looks once we get down to the bottom.
This is Tioga Lake, and there's a campground here. That would be neat, staying at this high elevation.
Well, all I gotta say is Pelicruiser conquered Tioga Pass.
And there's another campground here. I believe these are all first come, first served, managed by the Forest Service, and there might be dispersed camping up here too, but I'm not sure. I was tempted to stop here for the view, but we're gonna continue instead. It is a pretty steep and long downhill. Let's take a quick break, because even though I've been downshifting and trying not to ride my brakes too much, a brake light just turned on the dashboard, so let's let them cool down.
Well, here we are, stopped for a few moments here on the Tioga road because I got a warning in Peli Cruiser. By the way, we still have snow up there, a little bit. What a beautiful mountain landscape. And this is what happened. I got a warning, a service brake system. So I'm assuming my brakes are probably a little hot, even though I've been downshifting, I've been coming down in second gear, so. But it's been a long day of up and down, so that's probably what it is. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. By the way, it's cooled down significantly, it's raining, so I'm gonna go back inside.
That's Mono Lake, which is a super interesting place to visit, but it's not in the cards for today. Had the bed not broken? Maybe, but now we just don't have the time. Anyway, we're going to stop here at the Whoa Nelly Deli, which comes highly recommended. Maybe I can park out here? Ooh, someone just left. This is going to be perfect.
Check out this water bottle. And we're only like halfway down. We're still like, I don't know, 7,000 feet above sea, 6,900. Imagine when we get to Death Valley, which is below sea level. We're gonna keep this experiment going.
This is pretty cool. It is a bustling place, and they have all kinds of food, even beer. I think I'm gonna have the buffalo meatloaf.
Well, here we have an epic IPA from Mammoth Brewing, which is very close to us, and we got a lake view back there. And we have a mom view here. She's having a Pacifico IPA, which is supposed to be the lightest one. Look at that. And look at this meatloaf.
Well, that was good. And with better weather, sitting out here with a view of Mono Lake would have been priceless. And we have a neighbor now. I don't really need to put gas, so we're gonna continue. And apparently you can fill up water here as well. Right now, we're gonna turn right and head south on US 395 and try to outrun this rain. This, by the way, is another one of those probably top 10 scenic drives, especially in spring or early summer when there is still a lot of snow on the mountains. The rainy weather gives the mountains this ghostly effect. I kind of like it. There's a lot to see around here, but not on this Show Mom the Best of California trip. Had we been able to spend the night at Lone Pine, that would have been a different story. We would have had more time to explore some of the lakes around this area. But as it is, we're cutting it close. Let's stop at this rest area, which coincidentally I did spend one night here back in 2019 right before Yosemite. I just couldn't find anywhere else to stay. And the reason we stopped here, well, I'll blame the meatloaf.
Well, what can I say? Nature code.
There's a glimmer of hope. I see some blue sky in the distance.
The experiment continues now at 4,500 feet. Let's see, it's starting to get even a little more crushed. That's how much less air there is up there.
This lovely small town is Bishop. Its motto, small town, big backyard, because of all the outdoor activities available in the area. And that's a very famous bakery right here on the right. One of the most beautiful hikes I've ever done was in the mountains just west of here, at the Bishop Pass Trail, overlooking South Lake. It was an alpine wonderland. Now driving through Big Pine, not to be confused with Lone Pine, two totally different pines. This one is called Independence. It is the Inyo County seat. Coming up here on the right, Manzanar. This was one of several internment camps where Japanese Americans were detained during World War II. Nowadays, you can visit and learn about the history of what happened here. Now arriving in Lone Pine, and this is where we were going to spend the night originally, at this RV park here on the left. But I was forced to change plans when the bed broke. Lone Pine is also the gateway to the Alabama Hills and Mount Whitney, and there's the Museum of Western Film History, since so many movies have been filmed in this area. You'll see why soon enough. Would you take a look at this place? This is called Alabama Hills, and up until recently you could just disperse camp here, pretty much anywhere, but not anymore. All good things come to an end. But still, there are a bunch of hiking trails, and you can still camp, just not anywhere. Anyway, let's park here. This is it. These are the Alabama Hills. But an incredible place.
Well, here we are, one last break. We're 90 minutes from our destination, and we're just gonna take some pictures here. I decided to stop here at the, one last stop at the Alabama Hills, home to so many movies, and the view of Mount Whitney back there, which unfortunately, the lighting is not great.
There it is, Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the contiguous United States. And apparently it's not like a crazy difficult hike, so maybe one of these days.
This is odd. Apparently this is property of the city of Los Angeles. Who knew? And I remember a couple of years ago, this was kind of like free for all. You could pretty much camp anywhere, but right now they have like designated sites. So anyway, here's Peli Cruiser and Mom taking pictures, and yeah, we're just gonna take a couple of pictures with these incredible rock formations and go to Death Valley, which has some incredible rock formations on its own right.
Lone Pine here seems like a really cool town. We will definitely return. All of a sudden, we are in the desert. I mean, it may have been a little more gradual than I realized, but yeah. So we've come full circle. We began this trip a little over a week ago in the desert, and to the desert we have returned. We are leaving the Sierra Nevada behind, going from the highest point to the lowest point in the lower 48, which are just a couple of hours apart by car. Look at that sand blowing. If memory serves, it is going to be an epic drive from here to Stovepipe Wells, which is where we're spending the night. At the rate we're going, we're gonna run out of daylight before we get there. Coming up here on the left is the Father Crawley Vista Point, which is a great view of Panamint Valley. But to get the full effect, there's a little bit of a hike, so we're not gonna do it. The canyon below is used for low-level flight military training. That would be really cool to see. Here's our first view of Panamint Valley, which may be even more scenic than Death Valley. What an incredible place this is. This is Panamint Springs, our last time to refuel before we hit Stovepipe Wells, on the other side of those mountains in front of us, which is the Panamint Range. Look at that road through the valley. This is going to be the most challenging uphill climb of the whole trip for our trusty steed here, Pelicruiser. It's going to be like over 10% grade for a few miles, and it is still extremely hot out there. And this is when it happened. The temperature gauge started creeping up for the first time since I've owned Pelicruiser. So, as you do, I rolled down the window, turned the heater on, and slowed down. Luckily, we're almost at the summit. Look at that, 9% grade. And this is not even the steepest part. Elevation almost 4,500. Sunset will be in 7 minutes and we still have 20 minutes to go. Luckily, at this point, the worst is over. It'll be downhill from here.
Oh, what a night. I'm trying to move the essentials into the room, and it's like a dust storm, like a sandstorm out here. So windy, and look at the sand. It's like hitting us in the face. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I need to get Pelicruza ready for the night. Oh, by the way, this is what it looks like at sea level. That's how much less air there is inside the bottle compared to 9,000 feet. All right, let me grab everything and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Well, good morning. And no, we didn't sleep in here. We slept at a room. But our fridge is at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, so we probably lost the little food we had left in there. It's probably spoiled. I want to show you the room real quick, and then we're gonna have breakfast, and then we're going to Vegas. Well, the room was basic, but adequate. Yeah, Mom's trying to tidy up here real quick before I film this, but yeah, we had 2 beds. I mean, it's one design flaw. That temperature LED on the air conditioner is impossible to turn it off, and it would light up the whole room at night. I mean, it was a good night overall, right?
Good morning.
And good morning. We're gonna have breakfast now. I had a good shower, which I'm already sweating. And then we're gonna probably just gonna do like Badwater Basin and I forget the name of the mountain. And then off to Vegas.
I have not a shower because I am like a cat.
She like a cat. No shower. She's gonna shower in Vegas. Yeah, this
Later.
I mean, we do have a bathtub, so I figured that would be a little too high for her. So, oh, I forgot something. My sponge. All right, let's have breakfast and hit the road.
Yeah, this is the Stovepipe Wells Village Hotel.
Well, yeah, we got the breakfast buffet. Mom is eating. All right, let's hit the road. We're actually 10 minutes ahead of schedule. Unheard of.
I'm actually glad we stayed at the hotel and not the RV park because our air conditioner wouldn't have kept up. After stopping by the store to get some water, off we go. I was hoping they had a really cool t-shirt like the one I bought 6 years ago, but nope. This is actually the last day of our road trip adventure, and our first stop is going to be the Mesquite Sand Dunes.
Mesquite Sand Dunes.
What an amazing place. It's very windy out here, by the way.
Okay, we're going to venture to the edge of the sand dunes here, and Mom is back there. She's gonna take a picture. By the way, the sign said hit risk extreme. So there's extreme hit risk. So we're gonna do this relatively quick. And here we go. It's that fine sand. Yeah. I definitely want to come back here in winter and really enjoy this with, I mean, less heat in the weather. But look at this, look at all these dead trees. Yes, some dead trees that couldn't stand up to the heat. All right, time to go.
This is the thing with Death Valley, almost everything requires you do at least a short hike, something Mom can't do. So I'm thinking of doing the 2 things we can do here that don't require walking much. The main one is Badwater Basin. I mean, you can't really come here and not do Badwater Basin. That's like the reason you come to Death Valley, for the lowest point in North America that is not underwater, right? And the other place you don't really have to walk much is Dante's View, from where you can see almost the whole valley. And then there's the visitor center with the famous thermometer at Furnace Creek. Let's go to Badwater Basin first because, I mean, it is not the most strikingly scenic spot, but the fact that you are 282 feet below sea level. Well, I have a thing for geographical peculiarities like that. This is Furnace Creek. Here we have the visitor center, a campground, and what is probably one of the most expensive gas stations in the whole contiguous United States. And here's the oasis that is called the Inn at Death Valley. Pretty fancy. There are so many things to see and do along this road. There's a one-way loop called Artist Drive with different colored rocks. It's actually quite a sight to see. And there's the Devil's Golf Course and the trail to a natural bridge, and the list goes on. It is a vast national park with lots of things to do. There, that's the road to the natural bridge trailhead. The flat area on the right, that's Badwater Basin. We'll be arriving at the parking lot soon enough. Notice that white marking on the mountain? I'll let you know what that is as soon as we park. Well, yeah, that is sea level. And if we didn't have the Sierra Nevada between us and the Pacific, there's a good chance we would be underwater. Let's take a moment to take all that in. There it is. That's the sign that corroborates where we are. As the story goes, Badwater Basin got its name when a mule belonging to an early surveyor refused to drink the water from that pond right there, because it is very salty water. Let me tell you, I wish we could walk all the way to the edge of the salt flat today, because it is super interesting.
Here we go. Here we have some interpretive signs. Most importantly, this map with all the lowest points on the planet. And we're here at the Badwater Basin, and that is 282 feet, 85.5 meters below sea level. Of course, the Dead Sea is the big one in the world. 414 meters or 1360 feet. Below sea level, and I showed you that sign up there that tells you where sea level is, which is mind-boggling that we could be so low below sea level. Our time here is going to be extremely brief because it's extremely hot. It's probably 110 degrees at this point, and yeah, we gotta get out of here before the RV overheats, and you know, we gotta make it to Vegas. We may or may not go to the top of that mountain. I haven't decided yet. Maybe. Here we go. RVing with Mom.
Let's hit the road back to Vegas. I don't think we're gonna do Dante's Peak. Oh wait, that's a movie. I meant to say Dante's View. Yeah, but first, let's stop at that expensive gas station and see the famous thermometer. Elevation sea level. Yeah, here we go. Here on the left, the Ranch at Death Valley, which is another hotel. And on the right, Sunset Campground, which is completely empty because it is closed in summer. I mean, who in their right mind would like to dry camp at 110 degrees Fahrenheit? That is like 43 Celsius. Here we are at the gas station. $5.74 for regular. That's like $1 more than the state average. Let's stop by the visitor center next door. Whoops, someone didn't see the one-way sign. Don't worry, happens to me all the time.
One last stop here in Death Valley. Mom decided to stay inside in the air conditioner. How can you blame her? But you know, I wanted to take a picture here with the thermometer, which today is a balmy 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 is Celsius. But as you know, this place holds the record, I believe, for the highest temperature ever. But there it is. Today, at Death Valley, that is the temp. Okay, this thermometer is not an official temperature reading. The display reads 1 to 5 degrees high due to radiant heat from nearby structures. The more you know. So, it's really not that hot then. Oh, I really love this desolate beauty, let me tell you.
And this concludes our 2025 Travels with Mom series, the California Loop. We still have to drive to Vegas, which is a beautiful drive, so stick around for another, 5 minutes or so. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. The unique natural beauty of the American West is unparalleled anywhere else. I just love it out here. And we'll be back soon. For context, we are filming here on August 24th, 2025. That's why it is so hot. After this canyon here, we should be arriving in Las Vegas. There it is. We can already see the strip all the way out there in the distance. Here's an old familiar place, Sam's Town, and this time I made a reservation at both the RV park and the hotel because tomorrow the RV is going back into storage. And we're back on the strip. Mom wanted to come back one more time, so we decided to start at the New York, where she stayed with my late dad many years ago, and then walk around a little bit. She always tells the story of how back in the day, they walked the whole strip, even the part that is not the strip, from Fremont Street all the way to the Mandalay Bay. That's a lot of walking. This is where she ran out of gas, so we took a taxi back to Sam's Town. All good things come to an end, and this adventure is pretty much over. we're flying back to Miami. What a view! What a view of the Strip as we take off from Las Vegas Airport. On an airplane. Okay, soon, very soon. And that's downtown down there. Now flying over the Grand Canyon. Have you ever seen a rainbow from up above? A double rainbow, no less. First time for me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road. On the runway this time.